Piers Morgan is a late-night TV show host for CNN. And during the Trayvon Martin case, he had some guests on his show. The guests were African-American speakers who were basically putting their input on the case. And they weren't really relevant to the case at all, actually. They were just on there having a heated debate. And what's funny about it was Piers Morgan was basically, I guess you could say adding to the debate. He was trying to get heated. He would ask questions that would stir up a bias between everybody and get them all arguing. So let's take a look at that.
We can talk about Trayvon Martin. The problem is that this Reverend and your other guests, as well as Obama and other WACP and others, are using this situation to divide and conquer. And I have to tell you that this sort of thing will
actually
never
the complete
end
opposite
until white Americans,
it's the complete opposite,
overcome the fear of being called racist and start to say no to these race hustlers.
Okay, let me bring in Ray.
At the end of the day, you a reverend, man. At the end of the day, you got to answer to God for this. You know, you have a congregation. You know, if a lot of people follow you, I'm pretty sure you're going to lose a lot of followers tonight. Because the stuff that you're saying is just idiotic. It's outrageous. You know, you're not telling the truth. All the stuff you're saying is bogus.
What am I not telling the truth about?
What, you call us hypocrites.
I want to respond to you about something.
Let me talk now.
The first thing I noticed about the New York Times webpage was the pictures they posted about Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman. They posted a picture of Trayvon Martin smiling with wide eyes, looking like an innocent little boy. Unlike Martin, they had posted a picture of Zimmerman, straight-faced and emotionless. In almost every article, New York Times tries to point out that Martin was just a 17-year-old boy and just doing what normal 17-year-old boys do. The New York Times also is sure to include that Zimmerman shot Martin out of self-defense. They don't really go into detail of what happened or how it happened, but they make sure that their audience knows that they think Martin was innocent. They use different kind of vocabulary to help them with showing that they were more biased to Martin than they were to Zimmerman. And they also, on the New York Times webpage, they have a timeline that goes through every day of the trial, and they have an article over every day that the trial was going on.
After the Trayvon Martin murder in Florida, many of the radio stations, both local and nationwide, had a lot to say on the matter. Some sided with Trayvon Martin, saying that George Zimmerman should have been guilty instead of being found not guilty, but there was not enough evidence to show that he was not guilty. But many of the radio stations around the area, depending on whether they were run by African American people or white or Hispanic, they all had a different side and they all had a different view on the matter. Some were biased and sided with Trayvon, maybe because of race, maybe because just of morals and how they felt on the matter, while as other radio stations that may have not been owned or ran by African Americans had a different view on it as well. So it all really depended on which stations you were listening to and what your view on the matter.
America's attention has been fixated on the Trayvon Martin case, with constant coverage and commentary. There have been racial overtones layered onto the debate, accusations of Old South-style justice, threats to riot, public moments of silence, and intense bickering on the popular social media sites. Why is this? Let's put the particulars of the case aside for a second, take a step back, and put this in perspective.
Even our local news is biased. When the Trayvon Martin case was being covered, you could easily tell of how biased the Orlando News Channel 6 was being, basically. When you tuned in to watch at nighttime, you would quickly see a shot of Trayvon Martin's family grieving in court. And then they would transition to another shot of George Zimmerman with his head down, looking pretty nervous about what was happening. As the show continued, you would slowly learn, if you were paying attention, how one-sided the news channel was while they were covering the case. I mean, every shot of Trayvon Martin was pretty dark and gloomy and just depressing in a way, and it made you feel kind of not guilty, but compassionate for him and his family. And then every time George Zimmerman was up, it wasn't his best photos. I mean, they're just photos that would lead you to believe that he was guilty in the case. And basically, in the video we're gonna watch soon, it just shows how biased even our local news can be, and it's pretty crazy.
The 6 women have now heard both sides outline their case. We've heard language the judge refused to ban. We've seen tears. We've even heard, as you heard, a knock-knock joke. But the point both sides are trying to answer, was it self-defense or was it murder? Your live gavel-to-gavel coverage of the George Zimmerman trial continues right now.
Well, as we finally got to opening statements, John Guy, a veteran of the state attorney's office there in Jacksonville for nearly 20 years, wrapped up his opening statements in just about 30 minutes or so. But during those words, what we saw there in the gallery was Trayvon Martin's parents showing a lot of emotion. Tracy Martin at times wiping away tears, Sabrina Fulton doing the same. At times, you could see her just kind of shaking and seeming emotional as they listened to them talking about their 17-year-old son, Trayvon Martin, just 21 days after his birthday where he turned 17.
The second newspaper I analyzed was the Los Angeles Times. As I scroll down, I see different articles like how to honor Trayvon Martin and letters, Trayvon Martin, race and justice, like for opinion. And it all I pretty much see is Trayvon Martin and how he should be remembered, and then George Zimmerman is all this bad thing, like all these bad things are happening to him, and how he might not deserve it. But Trayvon Martin is almost on every single one of these articles that I'm trying to read.
911, you need police, paramedical?
Maybe both, I'm not sure. There's just someone screaming outside.
Okay, what's the address that they're near?
Yes.
Okay, and is it a male or female?
It sounds like a male.
Okay, you don't know why?
I don't know why. I think they're yelling help, but I don't know. When someone starts shaking.
Okay, does he look hurt?
I can't see him. I don't want to go out there. I don't know what's going on. So they're sending.
So you think he's yelling help?
Yes.
Alright, what is your